At around 4:30 p.m. Nigerian time on July 13, 2025, Nigeria's former president Muhammadu Buhari passed away at 82 years old in a hospital in London. His former spokesperson Malam Garba Shehu confirmed the news on Sunday afternoon. But some people claim he had already died years ago during a long London medical trip and was replaced by a Sudanese clone named Jubril. Others laugh at it. Yet, the fact that millions believed it, and the fact that the rumor trended globally, with Google searches for Jubril of Sudan spiking worldwide in 2018, and international media platforms like the BBC and The Guardian detailing its propagation, got many people thinking. Now he's gone, and his demise has been officially announced by his family and the government of Nigeria. Pictures of his remains being flown from London to Nigeria for interment have been widely circulated online. It is no more speculation, but the truth, and nothing but the truth. Muhammadu Buhari, former president of Nigeria, is gone to the great beyond. But the real question isn't just about who he was. It is about what he left behind, his legacy. This is the story of Muhammadu Buhari, the man, the mystery, the myth, and the truth. Muhammadu Buhari was born on December 17, 1942 in Daura, Katsina State in northern Nigeria. He was the 23rd child of his father and the first child of his mother, Zulihat. He was named after a 19th century Islamic scholar, Muhammad al-Bukhari, and was raised by his mother following the death of his father when he was just about 4 years old. A guardian by name Waziri al-Hassan also took care of him and his siblings upon the death of his father. Buhari's education began with Quranic schooling, followed by primary school in his native home in Daura. Done with primary education, he moved to the Katsina Provincial Secondary School, one of the leading institutions of learning in northern Nigeria. By independence in 1960, he was set for military life. In 1962, at the age of 19, Buhari joined the Nigerian Military Training College, NMTC, in Kaduna. From NMTC, he proceeded to the Mons Officer Cadet School in the United Kingdom for further training, and later to the prestigious United States Army War College in Pennsylvania, where he earned a master's degree in strategic studies. His rigorous global training prepared him for leadership in his home country of Nigeria. By 1967, Nigeria plunged into the Nigeria-Biafra War, a brutal civil conflict. Buhari served as a frontline commander, reportedly leading a battalion in key operations during the brutal 30 months conflict. He witnessed firsthand a war that left Nigeria scarred, claiming an estimated 1 to 3 million lives, primarily from starvation and disease, and also from bullets cracked in the course of the war on both sides. Buhari steadily climbed the military ranks. He soon became known as a no-nonsense officer. He was quiet, serious, and fiercely disciplined. In the 1970s, he held crucial roles, namely Governor of the Northeastern States from 1975 to 1976, Federal Commissioner for Petroleum and Natural Resources from 1976 to 1978, overseeing the establishment of the NNPC, and later on, he served as NNPC chairman from 1978 to 1979. In these roles, he earned a reputation for integrity, widely seen as incorruptible and a staunch believer in national order. Then came 1983. Nigeria's economy was crumbling. Politicians were accused of widespread looting. President Shehu Shagari's democratic government rapidly lost legitimacy amidst public anger and outcry. The military watched. On December 31, 1983, the tanks rolled in again. Civilian President Shehu Shagari was removed from office in a palace coup. Smart military officers spearheaded the coup. Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida was there. Sani Abacha was there. Joshua Dogonyaro was there. David Mark was there, and a number of other officers of like minds. The coup was successful, and Shehu Shagari was effectively removed from office. Muhammadu Buhari was brought in to serve as military head of state of Nigeria. His path from humble beginnings to Nigeria's most powerful position was complete. Yet, the journey was far from over. As noted earlier, Buhari's rise came through a military coup on December 31, 1983, overthrowing President Shehu Shagari's civilian administration. The coup was justified by claims of rampant corruption, economic mismanagement, and instability, though Shehu Shagari defended all of the allegations. Buhari's regime vowed to restore discipline and national pride, launching first the War Against Indiscipline, the WAI, on March 20, 1984. This campaign, enforced by military personnel across the country, aimed to reshape national behavior and consciousness. People were forced into queues. Lateness was criminalized. Soldiers enforced new societal rules with brute force. For some, it was a necessary reset. For others, it was the typical school with guns. The message of the regime was clear. This is not a democracy. It is a military rule with a military head of state as commander-in-chief and supreme leader. Everybody was expected to fall into line. Buhari's regime relentlessly pursued the powerful in the Nigerian society. Hundreds of former government officials, ministers, governors, and businessmen were detained, some without trials. Special military tribunals handed down long prison sentences, sometimes up to 100 years, for corruption, and even death sentences for drug trafficking via retroactive military decrees. Critics questioned if it was justice or simply vendetta. There was fear and apprehension across the nation. Some persons applauded him, others criticized him heavily. His anti-corruption drive included sweeping currency exchange policies. In April 1984, Nigeria's naira color was changed overnight, requiring old naira notes to be exchanged within a limited window. This drastic move aimed to flush out hidden wealth, but ended up crippling small businesses, disrupting commerce, and leaving many Nigerian citizens impoverished, worsening economic troubles for the country. During his time as military head of state, the press was silenced. Decree number 4 of 1984, the Protection Against False Accusation Decree, criminalized publishing anything embarrassing to the government, even if it was true. Journalist Ndoka Irabo and Tunde Thompson were famously jailed under this decree for writing what the military considered as critical to the regime. Still, under his rule, freedom of speech vanished. While defenders lauded his, quote, restoration of sanity, critics saw cold rigidity. Compassion was scarce, as was economic recovery. Then came a major international scandal, the attempted abduction of Umaru Dikko, a former transport minister of Nigeria. He was abducted in the United Kingdom with intent to forcefully return him to Nigeria to face trial. In July 1984, Umaru Dikko was drugged, put into a crate, and nearly smuggled out of London as, quote, diplomatic cargo from Stansted Airport, only to be foiled by British intelligence. The fallout was severe. Nigeria's relationship with Britain crashed, leading to diplomatic expulsions and a significant chill in relationships for months. The attempt to use diplomatic privileges to smuggle a human being in a carton was widely condemned. Buhari's global image suffered. At home, discontent brewed, even within the military. On August 27, 1985, his Chief of Army Staff, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, and his comrades staged a bloodless coup. Buhari was arrested and placed under house arrest for 3 years until 1988. Just like that, the Iron General was out. No warning, no farewell addresses. On 2nd December 1989, Aisha married Muhammadu Buhari, who already had 5 children from a previous marriage, to Safinatu Yusuf. Aisha and Muhammadu Buhari have 5 children together and grandchildren. Buhari faded from public view. His legacy was considered by many as divisive. To some, he was a disciplined patriot. To others, he was a harsh dictator who tried to fix a broken country with a hammer. But history was just getting started with him. Decades later, the same man would return to power, this time through the ballot and not through the bullets. Most military rulers disappear after being toppled. In Buhari's case, he rebranded, watched carefully, and waited, returning when the time was right, wearing agbada instead of army greens. After 3 years under house arrest, Buhari kept a low profile through much of the 1990s. Nigeria had to grapple with years of military coups, the eventual stepping aside of Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, which paved way for another military ruler, Sani Abacha. Abacha later died in June 1998. In 1999, Nigeria returned to democracy, culminating in Olusegun Obasanjo's inauguration. When democracy returned, so did Buhari, with a new identity as civilian politician. He had waited for many years, namely from 1985 to 1999. In 2003, Buhari emerged as the presidential candidate for the All Nigeria People's Party, the ANPP. His message was familiar: anti-corruption, discipline, national restoration. Yet, the country and its politics had changed. He lost to the then president, Olusegun Obasanjo, a fellow former military head of state. Official 2003 INEC results showed Obasanjo winning with 61.9% against Buhari's 32.2%. That was not a bad showing for a man that had been out of power for many years. Many Buhari supporters claimed widespread election rigging, but the man Buhari moved on. He ran again in 2007 under the same All Nigeria People's Party (ANPP), but lost to Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. INEC's results showed that Umaru Musa Yar'Adua scored a total of 69.6%, while Buhari scored a total of 18.7% of the total votes cast. This was not as impressive as the former, but Buhari did not give up. In 2011, he ran again for the office of President of Nigeria under the Congress for Progressive Change, the CPC, and again, he lost to Goodluck Jonathan, who was the sitting president at the time. INEC result shows that Jonathan had a total of 58.9% of the total votes cast, while Buhari had 31.0% of the votes cast at the election. But in 2015, he tried one last time under the All Progressives Congress, the APC, a coalition of powerful opposition figures, including former rivals. This time, everything aligned for him. The country had grown restless under Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, whose presidency faced sharp criticism over issues like insecurity, corruption, and economic woes. A major scandal alleging an estimated $20 billion in missing oil revenue from then Central Bank Governor Sanusi Lamido Sanusi severely shook public trust. This was not just any allegation. It was an allegation from the man at the helm of affairs of the nation's #1 bank. The government of Jonathan disputed the allegation, but at this time, the damage had already been done. With the slogan change, Buhari launched a refined, better financed and strategically diverse nationwide campaign. He even hired AKPD Message and Media, a US PR firm co-founded by Barack Obama's former advisor, David Axelrod. In March 2015, for the first time in Nigeria's history, a sitting president lost to an opposition candidate. INEC declared Muhammadu Buhari winner on March 31, 2015 with 15,424,921 votes, representing 53.23% of the total votes cast against Jonathan's 12,853,162 votes, representing 44.39% of the total votes cast. Muhammadu Buhari had done the impossible. He had broken a record in Nigeria's history. He returned as president, democratically elected 3 decades after his coup. From coup leader to elected president, Buhari had rewritten his story. By now, the real test would begin. Would he lead with the iron fist and will of his past, or embrace the art of democracy which required patience, negotiations, dialogue, as against command from a military ruler? When Buhari returned to power in 2015, millions believed they were electing a savior, a disciplined, incorruptible ex-general. Reality, however, quickly kicked in. From the start, President Muhammadu Buhari's administration faced immense expectations and harsh realities. Nigerians hoped he would fix corruption, tame insecurity, and revive the economy. But by the end of his presidency, many wondered, what type of change did Muhammadu Buhari really bring to the country on his second coming as Nigeria's leader? President Muhammadu Buhari faced economic challenges. Global oil prices crashed from over $100 per barrel in 2015 to under $30 in early 2016, a severe blow to Nigeria's oil-dependent economy. The Naira, Nigeria's official currency, plummeted significantly, devaluing from approximately 197 Naira per dollar in 2015 to over 400 Naira per dollar by 2022 on the official market, with parallel market rates even higher. Inflation rose consistently, hitting 18.72% by January 2017 and 22.41% by May 2023, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, the NBS. Millions fell into poverty. Nigeria surpassed India in 2018 as a country with the most people in extreme poverty, with an estimated 87 million according to the World Poverty Clock. By 2022, this figure rose to 133 million, representing 63% of the population of Nigeria, according to the National Bureau of Statistics Multidimensional Poverty Index. Unemployment soared from 8.1% in the second quarter of 2015 to 33.3% by the fourth quarter of 2020, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. The middle class shrunk drastically. Most Nigerians did not find this easy at all. Buhari's team blamed global issues, while the critics blamed his policies, like multiple exchange rates in the same country and heavy borrowing by the government of the day. Supporters lauded his infrastructure efforts, including the Abuja-Kaduna Railway, which was completed in 2016 during his regime, Lagos-Ibadan Railway, which was completed in 2021, also during his administration, and the second Niger Bridge, which was commissioned in 2022, also during his administration. There was also the case of insecurity. While campaigning for office, Buhari vowed to defeat Boko Haram in months. He promised to lead from the front line as a retired military general. Nigerians believed him. Security crises increased in the country. Banditry, kidnapping, herder-farmer clashes, and separatist agitations rose sharply. The Global Terrorism Index 2023 noted a decrease in Boko Haram deaths, but a sharp rise in fatalities from banditry and farmer-herder conflicts, particularly in the northwest and north-central regions of Nigeria during Muhammadu Buhari's civilian administration. Critics cited underfunded and poorly coordinated security agencies and Buhari's slow response to attacks as signs of bias or negligence. Supporters maintained he navigated complex threats inherited from decades of poor governance. Previous governments were also blamed. Buhari's health also became a concern. In 2017, Buhari vanished from public sight for 103 days from May 7 to August 19, 2017 for undisclosed medical treatment in London. Questions were asked from several quarters. Was Muhammadu Buhari alive? Who was really the person ruling Nigeria? Rumors exploded, including the Jubril from Sudan theory, that he had died and had been replaced by a clone. Buhari himself publicly denied it in December 2018 in Poland, stating, quote, "It is real me. I assure you, this is the real me." End of quote. Perhaps most painful for many was nepotism and silence. Buhari faced criticism for favoring northern appointees. A 2019 analysis by the cable newspaper showed over 80% of his security chiefs were from the north, where President Buhari was from. His administration also faced criticism for silence or delayed responses during national tragedies like the 2018 Dapchi schoolgirls abduction or the EndSARS protest in October 2020. Yet, despite it all, he won a second term in 2019, defeating Atiku Abubakar of the PDP. INEC declared him winner on February 27, 2019 with a total of 15,191,847 votes, representing 55.6% of the total votes cast. History was again made. By his 2023 exit, Nigerians were deeply divided. Some saw him as a man of integrity, doing his best in a broken system. Others saw a failed leader detached from the common people of his country and the existential realities of the country. Others saw him as authoritarian and unable to inspire change. 8 years, 2 terms, one nation, more uncertain than ever. Buhari came in promising change, but in the end, who changed? Buhari or Nigeria? What did he leave behind? These were the questions that most Nigerians were asking and are still asking till today. However, supporters have highlighted Buhari's legacy. Key infrastructure projects including significant railway modernization, example the Abuja-Kaduna Lagos-Ibadan Railway and the Second Niger Bridge, crucial for economic connectivity, strengthening anti-corruption institutions like the EFCC and ICPC, and refusing to interfere in those institutions despite mixed results in high-profile convictions, repositioning Nigeria's global diplomatic relations, particularly within Africa and with major world powers, often through emphasis on regional security. Others have also applauded him for refusing to interfere in the affairs of the State of the Federation. While in office, his political party lost election in some states of the Federation, and he was seen as someone who never interfered. Critics, however, argue that Muhammadu Buhari left Nigeria more divided along ethnic and religious lines, with rising nationalism and perceived favoritism exacerbating tensions. With increased poverty as the number of Nigerians in extreme poverty rose from 87 million in 2018 to an estimated 133 million by 2022, according to the National Bureau of Statistics and Multidimensional Poverty Index. Inflation also remained high, reaching 22.41% by May 2023. Youth unemployment increased, reaching 42.5% in the fourth quarter of 2020, according to the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. More indebtedness, with public debt surging from 12.6 trillion in June 2015 to a staggering 87.38 trillion naira by May 2023, according to the Debt Management Office, the DMO. There was also the declining trust in democratic institutions and leadership, and this reflected in lower voter turnout at the election and public cynicism. Buhari's story serves as a warning and a mirror, a warning that discipline without vision leads nowhere, and a mirror of what happens when promises aren't matched with action. You may love him or despise him, but he remains a significant part of Nigeria's history. Thanks for watching this edition of Back in History, and do remember to subscribe to the channel or follow the page for regular notification on every new video. I am your friend and host, Ekemini Udim, wishing you the best in all you do.